Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our legendary Pokemon rankings. As always, I'm your host, Pokemon Trainer Evan, and I'm ready to get back into it. So, these rankings so far, I've done Gens 1 through 4. Gen 4 takes a lot out of you because there's so many legendary Pokemon. We're going to have a similar vibe with Gen 5, but it tapers out. Just for a note, quick. Especially because this is where it comes more into effect for this video. I'm not going to be doing Ultra Beasts, and I'm not going to be doing any regional forms, because I think there's a difference, and it almost because they're similar Pokemon, they should be treated as similar, even though their regional forms eventually are so different that they are almost like different Pokemon. But I'm not going to go into those, so I'm only working on legendaries and mythicals. And beyond that, let's get going right away. So we're back with Gen 5. We're going to start as the Gen 5 Pokedex does with Victini. Victini is a... Honestly, I have Victini as a D. I don't hate Victini. I think Victini is a cool Pokemon. It doesn't give mythical vibe to me at all. It looks like it has some power. It looks like it has some... You know what? I'll bring Victini up to a C. I'm sorry. Not a D. I'll give it a C. Victini does have this range of power. I love this unique design with the ears. It goes back to what I've said about Bulbasaur in the past, or what I said about Mewtwo in part 1 of these videos, was what is it? I don't know, but it's a Pokemon. And I like that kind of vibe sometimes in a Pokemon. I just don't think it gives a big mythical vibe. And this is a pure side note. I hate that it's number 1 in the Unova Pokedex, and I hate that it gets the number 1 slot out of all Unova Pokemon. I thought, it's clear with the reboot that they did with Black and White, they were like, we're going to reinvigorate this franchise, we're going to do new things. Victini holds a spirit with the mythical Pokemon, but isn't the same and doesn't have the same vibe. And then to think that the best thing that they could do to start off with was, let's put a mythical as the number 1 Pokemon in the Pokedex. As a stickler for organizational things like that, it drives me insane. That's not Victini's fault, I guess, if you're going to say it like that. I just don't get mythical vibes off of Victini. It looks like a fun Pokemon you'd find towards the end of a game, not a mythical to me. And so that's where I'd put Victini into C. Then we're going to go towards our Genie Pokemon. Start with Landorus. I actually like the Genie forms and and I really enjoy the alternate forms as well, the Therian forms. I think the concept is kind of cool. It's odd that you bring genies. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes currently as well. It's odd to me that in a game that's based off of New York City, that your first thought would be, I know what we can do for legendaries, genies. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I like them. I like the concept of a genie as a mythical Pokemon or a legendary Pokemon. They do inherently feel like they're powerful. So I'm going to go Landorus. I'll put Landorus as a C. I'm not putting these in any order because, frankly, they're all kind of for me. Landorus, it feels like it has power, which is cool. The idea of a ground-based Pokemon that has the name Landorus then being a flying genie, somewhat confusing, but I'll get behind it. That's fine. So that's cool with me. Ground flying type is, though, a very unique typing, which I think is another reason I like it. And it does give me ground vibes off of the color scheme. So I'm cool with that one. Then we're going to move on to Tornadus, which is a pure flying Pokemon. That one I don't fully get due to the color scheme, but I love the color scheme, which is why I will put Landorus pretty much the same, because it makes less sense than Tornadus from a pure typing standpoint, but it makes less sense because of the color scheme. Like, I don't think green, purple, and yellow together give this like, oh, I'm this basis of flight. And the Therian form helps, but like, what about this says flying other than the cloud that the other ones have? And I guess you could say, oh, his hair is flowing and wispy. Okay, I guess, but it's a C for me. It just but the thing I like them and about these genie based Pokemon is they feel extremely powerful, like something not to be messed with. That is something I really like and enjoy about legendary Pokemon. They have that, so that's why I have them higher than the Lake Trio or the Manaphy and Fione. They have that power to them, and I like that. And then we're gonna go to my God, the name is escaping me, so that's why I have to use my nose. Thundurus. Oh my God, should I? That was gonna be my guess, but I couldn't remember the name at the time. Thundurus. I like Thundurus as a B, because I love the tail. It looks like a magnetizing factor of electricity, which I really enjoy, which is different than the two takes of the tails on these. I like all the interpretations of electricity in Thundurus. The magnetized version that implies electricity as well, love that. Love that this vibe of the hair almost gives me like an EKG feel as it's measuring a pulse of something. I love that for energy as specific, and which would be personified in Pokemon through electric type. I love that, and I love the light blue color scheming, which gives it the flying vibe and the electric vibe, kind of like I was speaking in part 1 with the light blue of Raikou electricity. That I really like. And I do really enjoy the Therian form as well, which is why I have it higher than the other ones. It's not higher because I think there is a cap to what you can do with those Pokemon to a degree. I don't think it has enough unique distinguishing factors from the other 3 to push it higher, but I do enjoy Thundurus. Now we're going to get on to our ideals trio, or our values. So Reshiram. I'll put Reshiram as a B, and I'll do this. I'm going to just do these 3 all to kind of together. I will do the same for Zekrom. Kyurem, I guess I'll do the same. Here's my issue. I don't really like any of them. Of the 3, I like Reshiram, and then Kyurem, and then Zekrom. My issue is design choices. What makes no sense to me is that, standing for truth and ideals, that Tau symbol, and then Kyurem's kind of just this like menacing thing that endangers your ideals. That is a cool concept. And I do enjoy the ideals and truth vibe from the pure color scheming of the Tau symbol through Reshiram and Zekrom. And then Kyurem has a bit of both. It's muted, the muted white and the blue, and then the muted gray is the black. So my issue is I hate the jet tails on all 3. It's an odd design choice that I disagree with and I don't like. But that's personal preference. Reshiram gives me dragon vibes because it's got the never-ending story dragon type vibe, which helps. And it looks like an odd legendary creature. I can get behind Reshiram. Zekrom, it does feel like a powerful legendary Pokemon, but I don't really get a basis of it, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And again, I don't like the jet tail. Kyurem, same deal. Now, Kyurem, I do like the ice crystal vibe off of the face, and I do like the asymmetrical design. I think the asymmetrical design is actually pretty cool. You don't see it very often. I like that because it gives something more of a unique living, breathing feel than just straight symmetry. And I am someone, when I design my own stuff, I do like symmetry. I'm a stickler for that unless it's intentionally supposed to be asymmetrical. But I think that really gives a vibe off of that. The only thing about Kyurem that drives me insane is that this looks like an electrical plug. And that just always drives me insane. Because it's kind of like, well, why did we do this for a legendary Pokemon? That's more of a gimmick for a different kind of Pokemon. Now we're going to Swords of Justice. I guess I'll start with Virizion because I have this. See, I get that it's grass type. I don't get a fighting vibe off of it, but I guess that's the unifying factor. It's grass type. It gives me grass vibes. That's about it for Virizion. It really is. I like it. It's a fun little unique design. I like the deer look to it. That's pretty cool. I like that. It does have a unifying spirit between the other three, between the other two, and then Keldeo's kind of a whole different thing. Terrakion, I will give same deal. See, unifying features. It does give me a rock vibe. I love this antler horn looking deal. It looks like a ram, which is very, very cool. It's rock vibe for sure. Rock type, but that's it. There's not much to say about it. It's there. And same thing for Cobalion. Same deal. It's got a deer-like vibe or a zephyr-like vibe, something of that nature. Cobalion being steel. I don't get a ton of steel, but at least you get a hint of it here and here. And I guess the cool blue factor of it can be thought of as steel. I don't see it that way. All three, they're just kind of there again. At least they feel like they have some majesty or power to them, unlike these guys that I'm looking for in legendary Pokemon designs. But that's about it. And that would be my basis for why I'm down on these three. They're just kind of there. And the overabundance of legendary Pokemon in Gen 5 is absurd. If you heard my part 1 to this video series, the critique for me is legendaries are supposed to be special. Mythical Pokemon are supposed to be special. When you have so many of them, they're not as special. And these three feel like they could be a pseudo-legendary trio and be more effective. Because then you'd see more of them and you'd know, oh crap, that trainer is awesome. Because they have one of those. They hunted one of those down, that's awesome. Versus, oh, they're legendaries and they're Swords of Justice, but they're just there. Keldeo, my issue with Keldeo would be the uniting factor between the three. I will put Keldeo straight up in a C again. I like the unicorn vibe. I think it's different. For all the My Little Pony fans out there, this is clearly a My Little Pony friendly design. I'm not a My Little Pony guy. All my knowledge of My Little Pony comes from coaching 3- and 4-year-old kids in soccer. But I do enjoy the design. I think it's fun. But again, I don't think it doesn't give me a legendary vibe. And I don't get that. I don't get this being with these three as much. These three clearly feel unified. This one feels like, no, it's the leader. It's the. I don't get that vibe from that, and that would be a critique for me, character-wise. One thing I would say about Keldeo is, I get the water here, but I don't get a lot of water vibes otherwise, and that could be problematic. That's about it. Keldeo's, it's a fine Pokemon. I like Keldeo, but it's just kind of there. Meloetta, on the other hand, I will rank Meloetta higher. But I do have a heavy critique. Meloetta is a great, fun Pokemon design. I like the psychic type, and with the clear music note in vibe, I love that. I've had a lot of fun in my own Pokemon region design in my personal time, playing with the idea of psychic and the hypnosis that's brought on of a vibe of music, which is great. Speaking of music, if you hear this in the background, this is actually a Pokemon lo-fi playlist. I'll turn it up just a hair so you guys maybe hear it a little bit better. If you just want some great music in the background for anything, highly recommend Pokemon lo-fi playlist on Spotify. It's tremendous. Bunch of really good artists on there, so I highly recommend it. And I thought Meloetta would be a great way to introduce that. But going forward, I think Meloetta is a really cool design. I love the singer vibe to it. I think that's great. And I do love the pirouette form. I'll bring the pirouette form up here just so I can talk about it. It's the only alternate form I'm going to go into, because I think that's a great way of different forms of it, and to give you that different vibe of what music could do and what sound in general can do to your vibe. Meloetta is more that classical singer, maybe a jazz vibe to a degree because of the headdress vibe, where the pirouette form is far more that kinetic energy vibe of music. I like that interpretation. My issue would be I don't get mythical Pokemon, I just get very unique Pokemon. And that would be my critique of that. But I think that gets closer to the shaman argument, that the interpretation and the thought process behind it could give legendary vibes. And that's where I'd go there be. Genesect. I love Genesect's design. I'm going to put Genesect at an A. And I didn't think I would. There are Pokemon down here that I like more, significantly more than Genesect, but I think the design is so cool. This ancient, sinister, evil, alien, bug-looking thing, that's a legendary Pokemon. That thing looks like you shouldn't be messed with. I love that for Genesect. A bug steel type, tremendous. Love that for Genesect. You get bug, you get steel, you get alien. Great design work. Love it. It looks like a villain, or it looks like something powerful that you want on your team. Love that for Genesect. Genesect is an A. I really like Genesect. And that's the end of the never-ending Generation 5. My God, I'm 15 minutes of just descriptions into this video, and it's just Gen 5. I'm sorry I'm so long-winded. We're going to get to Gen 6 now. Far fewer problems, so we're going to have a little bit more fun with it. Xerneas. A+. Love Xerneas. Xerneas looks special, looks important. It gives the tree vibe off of with the branches that are rainbow colored. I love that for Xerneas. It really gives that life and death vibe to that they're looking for with, or creation and destruction. It's clearly life and death vibe. And I love that being a deer, as a deer has been used throughout all of mythology and biblical teachings and everything else. I love bringing that note in for Xerneas being a deer or being a stag. I think that's a tremendous note. And I like that there's different color variation that makes it very cool, unique, and makes it look like it has majesty and power. That is really important for me in a legendary Pokemon. Xerneas has that. Yveltal. Also, going back, I love that you can see it, but it's not as obvious. I love the subtlety of the X in the Xerneas. I think that's great. Yveltal. Yveltal to me is... I guess I'll give Yveltal a B. The Y is obvious. That's great. The red and black is clearly a more menacing, evil look. You look at characters with the red and black color scheme. I always think Star Wars, Darth Maul, Darth Vader. A lot of villains. Batman, Red Hood, Red Skull in Marvel. They have that red and black. It immediately gives you intimidation. It immediately gives you, this is an evil being. I don't know if you can say Yveltal is evil, but the destruction element being interpreted as evil is there with Yveltal. So I love the color scheming. I just think it looks kind of like it looks like a bit of a ripoff of Lugia to me, and not as well done. And that would be my issue with Yveltal. Otherwise, I think it's a good Pokemon. but I just think it's a weaker design version of Lugia, to be honest, because you get the hand vibe, similar shape in the head. Just I don't know. Yveltal just doesn't evoke a very special vibe to me, like a Xerneas, and that would be my issue. Dark vibe is there, flying type is there though, so good stuff from that. Going to Zygarde, I went with the 50% form. I thought that'd be a little bit different. The ground vibe is there, and the dragon type is there. I will give Zygarde I'll give it a B. I'm shocked. I'm not usually a Zygarde fan, but it's been growing on me. Zygarde clearly has a Z with the unreleased Pokemon Z. That was probably clearly meant to be. Zygarde, I think Zygarde is just kind of forgotten, but the headdress look, the different forms, the idea of collecting pieces of Zygarde together, tremendous idea. And it's kind of got more of a sci-fi look to it, where these two are clearly based more off of general nature and what happens when humanity does things and how it does things, where Zygarde's far more of a human interference. We do our own thing. It's the bridge between the two. I like that for Zygarde. The color scheme gives me a sci-fi vibe. I love that. I don't know if I get ground based other than the slug interpretation that I'm getting from there, but overall fun design, and all three forms are pretty cool. So Zygarde, I'll give a B. Then we go to Hoopa. Hoopa, clearly a little bit more of that mythical fairy genie type. I like Hoopa a lot, actually. I think this form is better than the other form. I'll give Hoopa a B. Fun mythical Pokemon. I love the idea of the rings being a transportation vehicle. Very bit of a Sonic nod there that I do enjoy. Hoopa being psychic and ghost here, I get those vibes here, and that's really good, well done character design. I think the Unbound form, although it is not my cup of tea, does a similar thing, which I like. So Hoopa would be a B for me. Well done. Diancie. I struggle with Diancie because of this. I'm going to put Diancie at a B. Clearly rock, clearly fairy. Love the design choices, love the color scheme. It feels like somewhat of a myth because of that. My issue would be Diancie, I think, has a similar problem to Meloetta. It feels like more of a normal Pokemon that could be anywhere else. It doesn't feel like it's meant to be a mythical Pokemon. It's meant to be a very unique, rarely seen Pokemon in the traditional game, not a mythical Pokemon. But I really enjoy the interpretation, and one thing I really do enjoy is the Rock Fairy. Such a great way to use the idea of crystals and uniqueness and the majesty that can come from the earth. That I really like from Diancie. That's cool. So I'm good with Diancie being a B. Again, I just think it's like Meloetta. Does it belong as a mythical Pokemon? I would probably disagree, but it's just me. And then we're going to go to Volcanion. Volcanion's a B, but I'm probably like everyone else. What the hell do I do with it? I get the fire vibes. The water vibes, not as much, but I love the idea of steam heat. Fire-water design is a really unique concept. I love the idea of scalding water for a fire-water type. That's genius. I really enjoy that. It looks very steampunkish, which is cool. Just like, it's like Zygarde or Diancie or even Hoopa. Like, had I not watched the Hoopa anime movie, I'd barely know anything about Hoopa. The games didn't give me much, and I played through a very good portion of X and Y. Enough to know these characters, and I just don't see them. So that'd be my issue with these two and Zygarde. It feels like it's powerful. That's great, but it's just kind of there. But I love the design, which is why it's higher than a C, because I think by characterization alone, I'd put it towards a C or a D. Now we're going to Sun and Moon, Generation 7. Just updating my notes. Apologies here. Type Null. Type Null is a D. Love the idea of the Chimera. Love the idea of it's a mishmash Pokemon. But there's not a lot of unifying factors enough for me to give Type Null a true idea of being legendary or even being a unified Pokemon design. I think it's too scattered, but I love the idea and the concept. My other issue is this. Type Null I don't think should be a legendary Pokemon. I think it should be a pseudo-legendary available in the game with very few Pokemon available, but not there. I love the concept, but I just think the execution's not there with Type Null. And Silvally, I'll do the same thing for Silvally. I think Silvally is better than Type Null. I love this Aztec headdress look to it. I think that's amazing. Or Mesoamerican headdress. I think that's great. Far more unified with Silvally having this as opposed to the axe and the odd key hammer look and the weird broom neck. This all looks like feathered, unique, true headdress vibe with the bits of Chimera. That's cool. Again, I just don't think it should be a legendary Pokemon. So I'll put Silvally at a D or a C instead of a D, but it still just doesn't feel like a great legendary Pokemon. But now we go to Island Guardians. These things are dope. Tapu Koko to me is an S. Tapu Koko is a great design. So unique, so cool. Electric vibes right off the way. The influence of Hawaiian mythical culture. Hawaiian culture is there immediately. You get Sun and Moon's vibe. If you saw my previous videos about starter Pokemon, my biggest critique for a plus of Trico is that it immediately hits region, where you immediately know what Hoen's about through Trico. Tapu Koko has that in spades. All the Tapus do, but Tapu Koko is the best of them. So I love Tapu Koko. That's an S. Moving on, we got Tapu Lele. I love Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele I will also put at an S. I could see why it could be an A+. I might think about A+, but I love Tapu Lele. It has a legendary feel. It has a special feel. Same thing with the region. It's there in spades. It's obvious. Love the fairy typing. Could see it as a psychic. Can understand it. Tapu Lele, great. Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu I will put at I'll put Tapu Bulu at an A. My issue with Tapu Bulu is I don't see fairy and I don't see grass. But I see a big intimidating creature, which is great. I just don't get grass. Very unified design. It fits with the other three, even though it's very different. I just think the color scheme should be different to give you grass nods, and it's not there. So I'll have Tapu Bulu as an A, though. I do enjoy it. And Tapu Fini. I think Tapu Fini might be a better design than the rest of them. What a unique, fun design with the water. Tapu Fini is an S. What a great Pokemon design with the swordfish, shell look, clearly water without having to hit you over the head with water. What a well done design. The more I think about it, I'm in love with this design. I think it's great. I'm going to do it. S+. Because of design. What a well-designed Pokemon. So cool. So well done. Water in spades without hitting you over the head with water. Fairy is there. Feels like a legendary. Feel like it has power. Feel though it has a majesty and a myth to it. Love Tapu Fini's look. Tapu Fini is great. And now we're going into Cosmog, Cosmoem, Solgaleo, and Lunala. I like Cosmog. I think it's a fun idea. Legendaries that evolve is a fun idea. I get the cosmic vibe. I get the psychic vibe because of the cosmic association. The color scheme is great. I think Cosmog's a great Pokemon. Very fun, seemingly friend. Love that. I think Moem is right there. Same deal. Cosmic vibe. The only thing is, I think this one actually should be the first, and this should be the second. I get that it's evolving and they're trying to get it to Lunala or Solgaleo. I just think that this looks like something that needs to be protected. This feels like something that has been protected, but it's still in its first forms of growth. So I would flip the evolutions, but that's just me. But the Cosmic is there, the Psychic is there because of that. That's great. Now we're on to Solgaleo and Lunala. I will put Solgaleo at a B, mostly because Solgaleo clearly being inspired by the sun, not having a fire type, but having hints of fire type is pretty crappy, to be honest, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense to me that it keeps the psychic typing because that doesn't come through in Solgaleo. But what a cool design. That's great. It looks intimidating. It looks powerful. Tremendous. The unifying factor from Cosmoem through the more metallic gold look is there. Just not a great... I just don't think it's really unified between these two to Solgaleo. Meanwhile, I think Lunala is. Lunala to me is an S. Because of this. I think the hints are there and the cosmic throughout, the cosmic vibe of these two to Lunala is there in spades, and it just looks like it's taken a very unique tread. And Solgaleo doesn't have that unifying factor to me, where this does, and that's a great evolutionary line pickup. It being a ghost, okay, I can get it. I don't immediately get it, but that's not a disqualifier because I don't get psychic vibes off of Lugia, and Lugia is an S+ for me. I love Lunala. I think it's a great design, wonderfully unified look. Love the cosmic treads. Love the shimmering star idea coming off to give the points of the bat wings. So smart. Love that. This should just be by itself here, and there should be a different Pokemon besides Solgaleo. Solgaleo, I believe, needs a redesign to unify with these three more, because these three are clearly unified. Solgaleo is not. That would be my issue with Solgaleo. Lunala is an S. Great design. Well done. Really well done. And Necrozma. I'm sorry, not Zekrom. Necrozma. Necrozma's there. It's a C. Cool concept. Cool design. Don't know what the hell it is. Feels powerful. Feels intimidating. Don't really get it. Sorry. And I don't get psychic vibe off of this at all. Not at all. And that's why I put Necrozma at a C. I get why people like Necrozma. It's just not my cup of tea. Meanwhile, Zeraora is not just an A. I believe Zeraora is an A+. Love the design. I love the design. The electric vibe is there. I think being added late to the game was the problem as to why more people don't like Zeraora. I love Zeraora personally. The warrior vibe is there. It feels intimidating. It feels like a protector. It feels like something you want on your team. The electric vibes are there in spades. What a great Pokemon design. Love me some Zeraora. I just actually got a Zeraora trainer card pull, which I don't know if I posted yet or not, but it will be there. Great vibe. Love Zeraora. Everything about that is great. Love Zeraora to death. A+. Meltan. Gotta do it. Meltan's a D. What is it? It's a Hexanut with Terminator 2 T1000 body. It's cute. It's fun. Don't understand it as a mythical Pokemon. Just don't. I love the concept that it's a weird Pokemon that got stuck in transition between transfers of Pokemon games. That's really fun. Just don't like the execution, so I would put Meltan at a D. It's so cute. I'll bring it up to a C because it's endearing, but it's a little too abstract for me personally. But that'd be it. Whereas Melmetal, I can give to a B. Melmetal looks like it kind of belongs with these guys and the Titans, and the Golems. But Melmetal's cool and a great evolution of showing unity between getting Meltans together. That I really enjoy for Melmetal. That's great. So I do enjoy that from Melmetal, and I like how hulking and big and intimidating that thing looks. That's really cool vibe for me. So I like Melmetal. Melmetal's cool. But that's Gen 7, Sun and Moon. And now we're going on to Gen 8. My God, I'm long-winded. My apologies. God, there's a lot of legendary Pokemon out. Should have broke this up into 3 parts. My apologies. Zacian. A+. Love me some Zacian. Love the design. Love the scars. I get fairy vibe from this. It feels magic. It feels like it brings the idea of the mythology of the UK, specifically English mythology, and the fairy vibe of a knight, of King Arthur's court. It feels like it belongs in King Arthur's court right alongside Merlin and King Arthur. Love Zacian. In fact, I love Zacian so much, I'm bringing Zacian up to an S. And I love this. Just the scarred, weathered look, but it looks whimsical, it looks mythical, it looks majestic, it looks powerful. Zacian is an S. Fairy Steel typing, great idea. Love the idea that it could take down a dragon because it's the perfect type to take down a dragon. Zacian feels like that. Zacian's an S. Meanwhile, Zamazenta, not a D, I'm just bringing it up, or not an F. I'm going to give a B to Zamazenta. I like Zamazenta. I, again, love the scars, love that unifying look between the 2 wolves, love that idea. It is a great fighting type motif that I enjoy as well. I'm just not crazy about the design, and I love the idea of sword versus shield. I think the sword concept way better than the shield concept, and the color scheme isn't as fun or inviting to me as Zacian, so that's why I have it as a B. But still, great Pokemon. Eternatus. I'll give Eternatus a C for concept. In concept alone, I love the idea of this being a poison dragon because I think it's really smart to associate it with Rose, who is clearly like this sort of evil Elon Musk type character in a Pokemon game. That I really enjoy. I don't like it being the basis for all of Dynamax and Gigantamaxing. I think that's flawed. I think you could still make that tie, just not being the basis for it all. But I love it being this poisonous thing because it's, these are the heroes of myth that are coming to save us from Eternatus, because Eternatus is this enormous meddling being that is alien and doesn't belong here because of our own doing. We've screwed ourselves and it doesn't belong here. Zamazenta and Zacian very much feel like they're coming to rescue us. That's a great concept and a unifying thing between the 3. A great idea behind unifying factors, and all having the red and blue color scheme is a great uniting factor as well. I like that for Eternatus. It's just, I think the design doesn't give a lot to grasp onto to love Eternatus like other Pokemon, where Yveltal's definitely supposed to be evil looking. Necrozma is supposed to be evil looking. Lunala could even be a little evil looking. Giratina is supposed to be evil looking. And they're some of my favorites. Giratina specifically. Eternatus just doesn't give you a lot to grasp, but still a great Pokemon. Kubfu. C. Meltan again. Adorable. Fun. Love the idea. And I'll put Urshifu right next to it at a C. Both just feel like should not be legendary Pokemon or mythical Pokemon. Comes down to that again. It feels like this should be out in the woods near Victory Road, not post-game. It feels like, oh wow, oh my god, like you've heard about Cubfu this whole time. Oh, eventually you're gonna get Cubfu. Eventually you're gonna get Cubfu, and you get Cubfu, and then you train it up for. It's that one last boost you need before you take on the Elite Four. Ironically enough, no Elite Four in Sword and Shield, so maybe that's why it feels misplaced. But it feels like you should find this at Victory Road and get it to Urshifu pre Elite Four to win and become the champion, not legendary Pokemon. It just doesn't give me legendary vibes. It gives me fun vibes, gives me cool Pokemon vibes, just not legendary. Zarude, I'm torn. I love Zarude. I think Zarude's a really cool Pokemon. I will give it a B because it's a different take on it and a different take on mythical Pokemon. It just doesn't give me mythical Pokemon vibes again. I love it, and I especially love the Dada form of it. That's really cool. I love the color scheme where it's clearly grass and dark, and it gives this thing that it's out in the forest, you can't find it. That I get behind a mythical Pokemon. I don't see it more as a mythical. But I love the idea. I love the concept. I love the execution. I love Zarude. Zarude's really cool. I'm always excited for Zarude. Trading Pokemon cards with the kids I work with, when they get a Zarude card, they never want it. And I'm always the first to be like, give it to me. I will trade you what I need to get Zarude. I love Zarude. But I just don't know if it gives me mythical Pokemon vibes, which is why I'll have it as a B. Regieleki and Regidrago. Regieleki to me is a... Regieleki, I guess, is a C. I'll put it next to the Regis. Same thing. Gives electric type. Feels like one of the Power Rangers. It's the Yellow Ranger. Electricity is there. But cool. That's as much as I got, really. I got Regieleki and went, alright, I got Regieleki. That's as far as I went with Sword and Shield. Because it's just like, okay, I have one. And then I immediately sat it in a box because it wasn't all that important. Whereas Zacian, the second I got Zacian, that stayed in my party forever. Zacian was not leaving. Regieleki, not the same. Electric type, gets the point across, does feel unified with these guys, but not the same. Regidrago, on the other hand... For design alone, I will give Regidrago a B. I think this is a really unique concept of the Golem. Have this dragon snout almost in stone giving you this. And I love the different animations to give it rotation. That's really cool. And to have the basis of the dragon's internal power coming from the mouth be the centerpiece. And then the snout being on the outsides is such a really cool concept design that I really like Regidrago. And I recently just got the Regieleki and Regidrago box sets for Crown Zenith. And the Regidrago card really shows the cool power idea behind it. I highly recommend go hunt those cards down. But I like Regidrago a lot. And it does feel like it belongs in this. Feels Red Rangerish. Cool. Going off that Power Ranger motif I spoke about in part 1 with these guys. So, it's a cool concept. I like it. Very fun. Alright. Let me see here about these two horses and Calyrex. Glacier. I will put Glacier at a C and Spectre at a B. I'm going to talk about them both in this. I like Glacier because it's clearly ice type, and I am very prone to liking ice types, as I said in part 1. It does feel powerful. But this thing does not look legendary at all. It just doesn't. Same deal with Spectre. I don't think Spectre looks legendary. It looks like a ghost horse, which is super cool because ghost type's one of my favorites, and I love the idea of a concept of a ghost in Pokemon. Spectre is really cool. Again, don't give off legendary vibes. I think both hit the mark. They both look like horses based off their types. That's as far as I'm going to go with those ones. Calyrex. I'll give Calyrex a C because it's such a unique design for a Pokemon with this very... It looks like, you know, he who wears the crown wears a heavy head kind of vibe. Such a unique and different concept with Calyrex, and it's a deer, but a different take on a deer. I like that. It's abstract, it's unique, it's different. That I enjoy from Calyrex. My issue with Calyrex would be this. I don't get psychic energy off it at all, and I think it's a bit too abstract to be endearing. And again, great concept, love the concept. Something I'm working on my own ideas of making, you know, conjoined Pokemon or tandem Pokemon, as I like to call them. But what about Calyrex as legendary? To me, it doesn't. Calyrex is a C. And Enamorus. Enamorus goes right along with the rest of our genies. Enamorus, great idea for fairy type. Love it. Therian form, not crazy about it. Clearly more effeminate. I don't think you needed to make a more effeminate design. Just because it's fairy type. That would be, I feel like that's slightly derivative. And I have no issue with effeminate designs or masculine designs. I couldn't care less. If it's cool Pokemon, it's cool Pokemon. You know, Meloetta, clearly a feminine design, but I think it's really cool Pokemon. I like Enamorus, but it looks too much like a derivative of, well, we made a bunch of boys, so let's make a girl. That I don't like. But I like the concept of a fairy genie. That at least makes a lot of sense with fairy being the basis really for magic in Pokemon. So Enamorus is a C. Fun color scheme. It's as far as I get with Enamorus as well. And then we're on to Gen 9. Gen 9. Wolf. Okay. Koraidon. Koraidon is a C. Miraidon, I will put it a B. I came to enjoy them a lot more. Both being dragons, that's evident. They both look like dragons. Koraidon looking like a fighting type, it's there. Makes sense. Koraidon, here's the biggest problem. Why the hell is there a tire in the middle of its chest? I don't care if you can ride it. It didn't need the tire on its chest to tell you that. I hate that design choice. Absolutely hate it. It is the sole reason I chose Violet over Scarlet was that design choice. Because I hated it that much. Because everything else about Koraidon screams Evan Davies would love this Pokemon more than Miraidon does. I like the idea of ancient, prehistoric Pokemon. Had I known Paradox Pokemon in Scarlet were all prehistoric, I would have just suffered through Koraidon. Because I like the prehistoric designs more than I like the futuristic designs in the Paradox Pokemon. That's just personal choice and preference. But Koraidon's a C because this design choice, everything else is so cool about Koraidon. And then you see it has a tire on its chest, and then the animation, it doesn't even use it as a tire. It still runs on all fours. It makes no sense and drives me insane. For that design choice alone, I would put it as a D or an F. But the rest of it's so redeeming and cool, it's at a C. Meanwhile, Miraidon makes sense why it has a wheel, and yet it doesn't look like a wheel. It looks like this very futuristic gliding, machine. It looks super cool. Electric vibes are there. It's obvious. Color scheme, extremely cool. Looks like a dragon. Looks like an electric dragon. That's really great. Love that about Miraidon. I think that's phenomenal. What a great design choice. Like Miraidon a lot. And yes, I'm biased. I had Violet, but it's not just because I had it that I'm so enamored with it. Now, going on to these four, all these four have a very fun, unique concept, and I love the story behind them. I just don't. I love them as cool, unique Pokemon. Again, I don't know if they're legendary basis. I do love the in-game storyline and quests / side quests to get them. That's really cool, which makes them feel unique, exclusive, powerful. That's awesome in-game. But in all four of them, only one of them really gives me powerful vibes. And that would be Chien-Pao. So we're going to start. Wo-Chien. I love the design. I think it's really cool. It's a C. Love that the eyes are here, even though the eyes could be hinted at here. Very cool. Dark grass. It's there in spades, but unique way to do it. So all of them have a unique design, which is really cool. Just Wo-Chien, it doesn't feel like a legendary, but it feels like a really cool Pokemon. So I'm cool with that. Chien-Pao. Same deal. I like it. Ice type, obvious. Dark type. It does have that vibe, even though it's almost pure white snow leopard. Love that as a dark choice because the nature of the character design is there. I just think the stakes as the teeth are a little too big and a little too abstract for me. But the ice type is obvious. The dark type is actually obvious through the character design and the small hints of it that I really enjoy. Chien-Pao is a B as well. It looks like a pouncing feline type creature that has power that could destroy you. Love that. Ting-Lu. Like the idea, like the concept, not the execution. It's C. I like the wooden features of it. Even though it's clearly supposed to be more rock, it looks more like wood to me. Maybe that's because the green choice is here. It's just not... Again, it doesn't feel legendary. It feels unique, different, powerful. Just not legendary. I don't know what it is. And that's my biggest issue with it. And it doesn't give me ground. It gives me grass. But it's better done with Wo-Chien. That would be my issue with those. Is with Ting-Lu. Is it just doesn't give me enough ground and enough legendary vibes. Same thing with Chi-Yu. I absolutely adore the concept and execution of the design of Chi-Yu. I'm sorry, I keep looking at my notes because these four are so new to me, they're kind of hard to process the name in my head. Chi-Yu is really, really cool because I love the fire notes and it swimming through the earth's crust. Such a unique and cool concept. My issue with it being it doesn't feel powerful. It feels mythical. It feels different and unique. It doesn't feel powerful and therefore lends itself more towards this, the Ting-Lu vibe of it's not a legendary Pokemon. Of the four, I think Wo-Chien is the most legendary of the four in terms of it looks like a legendary Pokemon. The other three look like different Pokemon you would have in the game. And that's my biggest issue, is this does not look powerful enough, but the execution is so well done that that's where I'd end. But all four to a degree, but especially these three struggle with, they don't feel like legendaries, they just feel like really cool Pokemon to me. And I think there's room for Pokemon games to go in the future to have storyline based Pokemon that don't have to be legendary. I think that'd be a really cool concept to go to. And you could make them more exclusive. If you want to say they're mythical, sure, I guess that could be the workaround, but I don't think you need them. I just think they could be very, very tiny regional based to the map and still get away with it, which I think this concept would work better for. But I love the in-game concept of them. You have to pull the stakes out of the ground because you're pulling their restraints because they're menacing, powerful, evil beings. That's really cool. I just don't think the execution on the 4 of them is there to say that. Especially with GU, it looks like a little guppy, and inherently you have to do a lot to make that look like a legendary Pokemon. I don't think they achieved that, which is why I have it as a B. But that's going to do it for our legendaries. So let's count them up quick. We have, I'll start from the bottom, 3 Fs, Heatran, Phione and Manaphy, just why? D's, 5 of them, Typenol, Palkia, and then the 3 Lake Trio. I always mess up their names, so I'm just not going to do it. C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 22, 27. 27 C's is quite a bit for legendary Pokemon. And you're seeing a lot of middle generation here. A lot of 3, a lot of 4, a lot of 5, and then 8 is well represented there too. Bs, we're looking at 24 Bs. Good group, but I think that fits into really likable Pokemon, maybe not mythicals, with a lot of these, with these 2, Hoopa, even Diancie, Volcanion, and then our 3 newer ones. 8 A's, great group, love this group. I think I could I'll bring Raikou up to an A+. I just like Raikou so much. It deserves to be higher. So we'll go 7 A's, 4 A+. Great group of Pokemon. And then we're up to the S category with 12 Pokemon. All of these guys belong up here. Very cool, unique designs. Feel powerful, feel legendary. And then our 4 S+ are the top of the game. Great design choices. I think this is probably the wild card no one saw coming with Tapu Fini, but I think the design is so unique, cool. It deserves to be up there. And then Pokemon Satan, my boy, Giratina, Rayquaza, Lugia, S+. Chef's kiss on all of them. But that is our rankings. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Find me Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you find this video. Pokemon Trainer Evan. It always helps me out a lot. And I always like to give a lot of thought and time into these videos, so it's always appreciated if you could give me that. But that is going to do it for this video. So in the meantime and in between time, peace. I'll see you later. Bye.